Today, I'm going to share with you the best way to set up your exams, your quizzes, your tests, and self-assessments in LearnWorlds. Now, LearnWorlds has a lot of different options for you to customize the user experience for your learners. Now, let's remember, LearnWorlds is best used as an externally facing learning management system. What does that mean? That means that LearnWorlds is best used to sell and market your online courses. So if you are building courses to sell, LearnWorlds is for you. And if you want to learn A to Z, step by step, how to set up LearnWorlds, and because I want you to follow along today while we go through how to set up your exams, quizzes, and your self-assessments in LearnWorlds, I have a 30-day free trial of LearnWorlds for you. You can grab it in the description below this video. And as a bonus, I'm throwing in my LearnWorlds Made Simple online course to help you during your 30-day free trial set everything up so that you can start making money in LearnWorlds before you even start having to pay for it. So definitely go grab your 30-day free trial of LearnWorlds and get access to your bonus LearnWorlds Made Simple course in the description below this video. Okay, so in LearnWorlds, the exam, quiz, and self-assessments feature is broken up into two different places, okay? Exams and self-assessments. And within exams, they break it down further into exams and assignments, okay? Now, the other thing we're going to talk about today is LearnWorlds AI Assistant. LearnWorlds AI Assistant is LearnWorlds' version of ChatGPT integrated directly into LearnWorlds to help you create questions and other content within LearnWorlds. All right, let's dive in. Here we go. So once you grab your 30-day free trial of LearnWorlds and you sign up, you are going to create your school for the first time, all right? And then once you create a school, you can go open up your school, and what we really want to do is go to courses to access the exam and self-assessment functions within LearnWorlds. Okay, so I have a bunch of kind of demo courses that I've created over the years to teach you, to share with you how to use LearnWorlds. Let's open up this demo course I have called Breathing Techniques for Ultra Runners with Asthma. Okay, so once you open up the course that you are going to create your exams and assessments in, by the way, I'm also an ultra runner with asthma. My other brand, Athlete with Asthma, you can check that out, athletewithasthma.com and Athlete with Asthma on YouTube. Anyway, let's say we want to create a exam for the, as LearnWorlds calls it, the first section of my course. Now, this course is broken into 4 sections. LearnWorlds calls it sections. Here at eLearning Partners, I call these things milestones. I actually have a video on my channel all about learning outcomes versus learning objectives and how it is important to get in the head of your learners and think of the outcomes that they actually need to get, the results, the milestones that they need to hit along the way to get from A to Z. A being where they start before they take your course, and Z being where they are once they finish your online course, okay? In LearnWorlds, we call these milestones sections, okay? Now, let's say that I want to create an exam and a self-assessment at the end of my course. Well, so I can do this in 2 different ways, okay? I can either have it just be an activity in the final section of my course. LearnWorlds calls what I call modules activities. Activities are individual learning units in LearnWorlds, okay? So let's go down to section 4 or milestone 4 and go add activity. Now here's where exams and self-assessments show up, okay? Now, if we click on exams, you're going to see that there's the start from scratch exams, and we have a blank exam, and then we have graded SCORM. Remember, LearnWorlds really shines in selling and marketing online courses that are SCORM-compliant, okay? So if you have a SCORM-based course, what you can do is in your authoring tool, maybe you're using Articulate, maybe you're using Adobe, either way, you can export your SCORM quiz, your SCORM assessment, your SCORM exam, and upload it here so that you can have a graded SCORM package. Okay, so this is how you integrate SCORM into your quizzes and exams assessments in LearnWorlds. Okay. Now, we also have something called assignments. Like I said, exams, blank exam, graded SCORM. Then we have all these open-ended assignment questions. I'll go over that in a second. The other thing we have are self-assessments, okay? And this has some sub options too. We can have a blank self-assessment starting from scratch, assess your knowledge, test your knowledge from templates, and then express yourself and get feedback, okay? So really the biggest difference between exams and assessments is exams, the purpose of them is to assess, I know this is confusing, but to assess the knowledge of your learners, okay? So if you are a subject matter expert, a teacher, if you want to give your learners a grade on how they have retained or learned the content of your course or courses, then you want to use exams. On the other hand, self-assessments are more used to gather data, to gather information, also to give your learners a way to get feedback from you. Not feedback when it comes to, oh, well, I got a 70% on this exam. No, feedback with questions, right? With their knowledge on the subject. So in this case, breathing techniques for ultra runners with asthma, it'd be getting some ideas of what our athletes with asthma are thinking about the breathing techniques in their lives. How is it going for them? Okay, so they learned all these breathing techniques before a workout, during a workout, after a workout. How are they working for them? What kind of results are they getting? That's where we want to really use the self-assessment, because they can say, hey, I did this, this, and this is what happened. Do you have any advice for me? It's a way for them to get feedback from us. We're not assessing, okay, do you know the 3 top breathing techniques to use before a workout if you have asthma? And then they show us, okay, I actually know them all or I don't. Let's go into add activity, go into exam, and we're going to start by just going to a blank exam. Now, when I open up a blank exam, it's going to first prompt us to name the activity. So I'm going to give this a name. We're just going to call this exam, okay? Save and edit. And now it's opening up our exam builder, okay? So in our exam builder, there's always going to be a starting screen. This is where you can give some direction. You can name the exam. You can say exam 1. Read carefully and answer the following questions. We can give additional directions here if we want. And then we have the ready to start button. You can change some branding here too, etc. So just like our courses are broken into sections, our exams, our self-assessments, our assignments, they can all be broken into sections as well. So we have section 1 here. If I want to add additional sections, just kind of go over to these 3 dots next to section, and I can add another section, and another one, and another one. I can keep adding sections, okay? So you can have as many sections as you want. It's just a way to break up your questions. All right, so let's add some questions. So I'll go to section 1 here, and we have a lot of options, okay? Multiple choice, multiple answer, you know, all the things, all the typical things, okay? Now, the interesting thing here is you can also add assignments. Basically, we can add whatever we want to this exam. Even if we didn't pick one of those other pre-made options that LearnWorlds prompted us at the beginning. Okay, so when you were selecting what you're going to create in exams, you can always customize it. Okay, you just got to pick one and you start there. I like to use LearnWorlds AI Assistant to help me create exam questions, to basically do everything in LearnWorlds. Whenever I'm doing something for the first time in LearnWorlds, I always start by using LearnWorlds AI Assistant, because you may as well let the robots simplify things for you. So if I go down to generate with AI, I can pick basically the same thing I can pick above, but I can have AI generate it. So let's start with just a simple text answer, okay? Create questions for, and then how many multiple choice questions do I want? So I'm gonna have it create us 4. I'm gonna have 5 answers for each question available. And then what I want the exam to be about, remember, we're assessing how our learners learned the different breathing techniques in this course, breathing techniques for athletes with asthma or ultra runners with asthma. Ask questions about the best breathing techniques for ultra runners with asthma. Okay. Now, specify difficulty. I'm actually going to say hard or difficult. Tone of voice, and this is something that LearnWorlds does for creating anything in LearnWorlds, so courses, assessments, all the other different products. You can create ebooks in LearnWorlds, all these things, is they ask difficulty level. They ask, hey, what kind of tone do you want? We're going to say humorous. Why not? Set type of question, so different theories. I'm just going to say evaluation. Define in detail, context. You can add key terms if you want to. I'm just going to generate based on what I've selected. Generate, and now LearnWorlds is going to generate 4 questions for us. And let's see how we like them. This is a great starting point when building your exams. Okay, here we go. Which breathing technique is most likely to help ultra runners with asthma during intense efforts? Standing on one leg while breathing through a straw. That's interesting. Pursed lip breathing to keep the airways open. Breathing only through the nose while running backward. Deep belly breathing while reciting poetry. Okay, some of this stuff is ridiculous. But I did say I wanted a humorous question. So here we go. Now, it also comes up with the feedback that's going to occur depending on the logic of the answer, right? So when our learner selects the correct answer, it's going to say this. When our learner selects the wrong answer, it's going to say this. Okay. Next one. What is the common challenge ultra runners with asthma face when it comes to breathing? They can breathe underwater like mermaids. They often forget how to breathe altogether. Cold air can trigger asthma symptoms. Okay. These are funny and a little too easy. Okay. So maybe I should have selected something other than humorous. But yeah, so we have 4 questions. Now, if we don't like them, we can say regenerate, or we can just insert the content. So now we have 4 questions in section 1. The great thing is we can add more questions if we want. We can also go in and adjust the answers. We can adjust the questions. Now, some other things we can do is, let's say that certain questions you want to be worth more. So when we go to each question, we can go to score, and we can say, hey, I want this one to actually be worth 4 points. You can actually give points for incorrect answers. Not really sure when you would want to do that. I guess the only point of this would be to give people points for actually completing the exam altogether. So even though they got a question wrong, at least they tried to get the question right. So they actually completed the exam. So this is not the best way to word this, but you're basically giving them a point for completing the question, even if they get it wrong. Feedback. Now this is where generative AI already gave us the feedback. Correct answer, incorrect answer. You go in and adjust it here. You can also give tags. Now, I run both of my businesses using a platform called Kajabi, which is, in my opinion, the biggest competition for LearnWorlds, and I actually also have a 30-day free trial that I want to offer you. It is linked in the description below, and I have a Kajabi Made Simple online course that's going to help you set Kajabi up. Now, I like Kajabi because I personally don't have SCORM-based courses, and it does everything I need to market and sell online video courses. Now, it doesn't have as many functionalities, especially with the assessment creation part of Kajabi, but when I'm creating assessments in Kajabi, I actually sometimes set it up where, depending on how my learner, or I'll actually create an assessment, so I'll show you that next, okay? Where basically I'm not actually grading people, but I'm having them answer, basically take a survey, and then I want to send them a specific email or do something based on how they respond to the survey. Same thing here. You can set things up by tagging people based on how they respond. Okay, so in an exam, you may even want to do that. It's graded, but you may be like, okay, well, if someone said this, I want to tag them with a specific tag. If they say this, I want to tag them with a specific tag. And based on the tags that they have, when they complete the assessment, I may want to do something. In Kajabi, what I'll do is I'll literally be like, hey, if you have this tag, and this tag, I'm going to send you an email about this. Okay. Really cool how you can do this stuff. So tags can actually come in handy when you want to automate what happens next after they complete the quiz. Okay, maybe they have 2 or 3 different tags and you want something to happen in LearnWorlds automatically because of those responses. That's how you do this. So some other things, we can go up to settings and customize a bunch of things. Now, some really cool things that LearnWorlds does that Kajabi doesn't do. So if you're building and selling online courses and you don't have SCORM-based courses, there's some other reasons why you may want to choose LearnWorlds over Kajabi. Well, you can set up grade and attempt settings, okay? So in Kajabi, you can do this too, where you set like, oh, we're going to do 70%. But we can set up how many attempts people are going to have. We have unlimited, or we can set it up to number of attempts. We go allow after fail, okay? So maybe I just want to give 2 attempts, okay? Confirmation pop-up, fine, custom, text, etc. Okay. You can also set a timer, okay? So timer for entire assessments, so be like, hey, you're going to get 60 minutes, or 1 time for each question. You can do that, okay? We can also randomize questions. Deliver all or a random subset of questions. So we can choose, okay, I want to deliver different questions from different sections. So this is why sections are important, okay? Because we can go to custom here and be like, hey, I actually only want 2 questions from section 1, okay? And we can shuffle the questions. Yes, I want to shuffle them, okay? And then deliver same questions on retake. No. So when they retake, I don't want them to have the same questions. Okay. Feedback. Show feedback. It has a button and an ending screen. It has an embed in the ending screen. It has a downloadable PDF report. Okay, you can do all this if you want. What to include in feedback. So all these different things. Manual feedback. Enable manual feedback. So you can give your own feedback instead of these automated prompts that we have set in the system. Ending screen, this is what happens when they finish the exam. Auto recovery, navigate away, come back to assessment within a time window without losing answers. Now this is important because maybe your students lose power or lose internet access. Learner tools can send reminders after submission. Hey, tag user who submitted the assessment. So we can add tags here. And then we can use tags to do other things in LearnWorlds because they have these tags. And then assignment grading. So this is the exam part. Now let's go back. Let's make sure we save this. Let's go back. And now let's create a self-assessment and look at how this is different. Now I go to self-assessment. Like I said, we'll pick one of these and then we'll actually be able to do all these things. Well, I'm going to go to blank self-assessment. We're just going to call this self-assessment. Save and edit. And here's what we have. It looks exactly the same, right? Except it says self-assessment time and has some different texture, which you can customize. Ready to start? It's all the same. Sections, we can, yet again, add a bunch of sections. And then we can add import questions. Now you're going to probably look at this and be like, oh, this looks exactly the same. Well, that's because it is, okay? So when it says exam questions, this is exactly the same as when we went under exam, okay? What's different is we also have form questions too. So if you go look back at exam, which I'll do for you really quick. So if I go save and then we go back, when we go back to the exam, it's only going to show exam, okay, at least as of the recording of this video. So I go here, we go to exam, and go edit questions, and we go add new question, and it just says the exam questions, okay? And then when we go to self-assessment, it shows exam questions and these additional questions, okay? These, save, edit, here we go. So now I go boom, form questions. Now form questions, the big thing here is we can have text. We just have a contact form. Hey, we just want to get some info from them. File upload, so we might want them to actually upload a file of something that we're assessing. We can prompt them to record a video or audio. Get a rating if we want, etc. Okay. The big things here are if you want to assess something, so maybe you want to hear what they have to say about a topic, and you can either have them record a video or audio, okay? If you want to see how they perform on a project, and it can't just be a text-based answer, right? You want a lot more. Maybe they're developing something visual. They can upload a PDF or they can upload something here, okay? Maybe you just want to get some info from them, okay? Or maybe you just want a short answer and you want to call it a form question, okay? Well, let's pick one of these. Okay, so add short answer text here, boom, same thing over here. We can customize how things look. So now we can go to settings and we have the same things here, same exact settings, grade and temps. And this is literally going to say the same stuff that we had for exams. So really the only difference is we're getting info from our learners, we're giving them an opportunity to get feedback from us, and we're not necessarily grading it. Or if we're grading it manually. We're not having an automatic grade because they answered a matching question, a multiple choice question, a true-false question, etc. So remember to grab your 30-day free trial of LearnWorlds so you can build all this yourself. And by using my link in the description below, you're going to get access to my LearnWorlds Made Simple online course. So while you are using your 30-day free trial, you're going to be able to get everything set up so you can start making money before you even start paying for LearnWorlds. So definitely go grab your free trial and your LearnWorlds Made Simple bonus online course, and I'll see you in the next one.